Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
So what we're going to discuss today is something that interests me a lot because I've seen a lot of people that have been affected by it. It's all about divorce and why children suffer in divorce. So I'll start with a quote by Alan de Botton. Those who divorce aren't necessarily the most unhappy. They're just those neatly able to believe their misery is caused by one another.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that divorce can be difficult for everyone, the children and their parents alike.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are the parents coping, they're learning ways to relate to each other. They're always looking for ways to be good parents for their children. Divorce is a painful process that disrupts the lives of children, and for a lot of children who experience the process of separation from their parents, the damaging impact can be related to their parents.
Yeah, it can be related to their parents. You know, when two people meet, they believe that they are meant to be together for better or worse, as they always quote at the altar. You know, when they get married,
Mm-hmm.
they always say that in the church or in the registry. Okay, for better or worse, we're gonna stay together. We're gonna work it out, or that. You don't know if it was love or infatuation at the start of the relationship. You know, a few months or years along the line, those people, they become different people,
Mm-hmm.
right? You start having issues and all that. You know, there are situations sometimes it becomes unattainable. They might decide to go for divorce or separation. You know, most times when kids are involved, you know, some of them maybe they may not have children, but they decide to go separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
But when kids are involved in this situation, those kids are always worried. They are the ones that is affected most anyway, and the parents, they are always worried about the uncertainty of the custody and living arrangements of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
They may even worry about how the children will deal with that divorce. That's what the parents always worry about. You know, so it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when two people know that they're not going to be together, why are they having children in the first place?
Like I can explain things to you, it's not like at the beginning we said already, they meet each other, yeah? They believe that they cannot be together for a long time. Do you understand? They never believe that they're gonna divorce.
Mm-hmm.
But the relationship, sometimes there's a breakdown. You know, sometimes divorce can happen unintentionally. There's a lot of things that can bring disunity and dysfunction into a relationship, right? So those things like domestic violence, abusive partner, cheating in the relationship, there's a lot of other things that can bring minor things as well. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's no respect and some other things that can that come into that relationship. Then it's gonna be like a breakdown in the relationship. Along the line, they might decide that they can't stay together anymore.
Yeah.
You understand? So when someone asks why are they having children, when they know that they are not going to stay together, as we said earlier, isn't it? Maybe they thought they would be together for a long time, like I said, but due to their broken relationship, they decide they will not they have to get a divorce. Do you understand?
Yeah.
They don't want to get a divorce. As the children are involved, the children tend to suffer the most. Some of the children they can cope with the divorce. Some of them they can cope, especially the ones that are older, they can cope with their divorce. But the younger ones, the little ones, they find it more difficult. You understand what I mean? They find it more difficult to cope.
Yeah, so why do children suffer most in divorce?
There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that make children to suffer. You know, when parents they divorce, if they have young, like I said, if they have young children, you know, those children, they find it difficult to understand why their parents choose to divorce. Why did they choose to go in separate ways? Understand? They find that difficult, and they find it confusing as well.
Yeah, but these can impact them in so many ways. For example, like moving to a new home. When their parents divorced, one of the parents has to move out of the house to a new home. Most times it's the father that moves. And this can bring disruption to the child because they wonder sometimes why they must move from one house to another.
Yeah, those are the impact that always happens because in divorce, when a separation happens, one person always have to move. One of the parents have to move. But most times it's always the parent, the father is like you said, right? The fathers are the ones that always have to move. So the children, when the father moves, that means it depends on the custody, how the arrangement is, right? These children has to do what? Move from one home to another. Moving, is unstable. They're moving every time. Most times it's 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, sometimes every week or some weekends. They have to move again to the dad or move to the mom. Understand? It's affect the children's stability. It affect the way they reason and everything. Oh, I don't want to go. Sometimes there's that money. I don't want to go this week. And you find out that that, I don't know.
It's affecting their mentality.
Everything. You understand? It's affecting especially that stability of both parents together. Now it's broken. Understand? It's affecting them a lot. Understand? So that's what it is, part of it.
Yeah, another one can be choosing between parents. It's kind of related to moving to another home. Like you're talking about, they have to go to this person's place on the weekend or the weekday and then go back to the other one parent. And when kids are caught in the middle, that they have to choose between their parents, to choose which parent they like the best, it can be a very difficult situation to be in because it's a scary situation for an adult, let alone a child. It's depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing. Okay, choosing between parents is that, I think, is the worst one because the kids, they're in the middle, right? They have to choose between it's the dad or the mom they're gonna follow, and they realize sometimes when it gets to that stage, both parents, whoever that is, have the child. That period, they will try to make
them think that they have to.
They
stay
are the best one. Do you understand? They are the best parent. You see that they start spoiling those kids, isn't it?
Giving them stuff
everything they wanted, anything they want, they start, and the kids, they will use that as a manipulation, isn't it? They want anything they want. They cannot get it from their mom or they cannot get it from their dad because now everyone is trying to win
their love
and their trust as well. Do you understand? Which is very, very, very bad. At the long run, it affect that child development, affect that child psychologically, affect them as well, emotionally affect them a lot. You understand? So because the parents are now, they are faking it. They are not living their normal life.
They're not giving it truthfully.
No, they're not giving. They are not just trying to buy their love with something, and they spoil those kids. It's not that the kids, they don't know. They know that what they're doing is just to buy their love, and they find out in the long run it's broken trust, isn't it? You understand? So that's what happens sometimes,
Yeah, this one is one of the most important out of the ones I'm going to say. Changing schools. As we said earlier, when they move home, most time the child has to change schools as well. And it will cause emotional distress because remember that the child might have had a lot of friends in his or her old school. And that child moving to a new school, they would have to make new friends, which is distressing for them because it can lead them to lag behind in their academics. And then sometimes they will lack concentration in whatever they're doing because they will start thinking that I don't want to be here. I want to be back in my old school with my old friends and everything.
Yep. Moving, when something like this happens, when there's separation and all that, right? Whoever that have the custody of that child, you understand? Most times it happens, maybe the mother has to move, right? Or the dad have to move. And it happens, most times they have to change school, like you said. Changing school, the child now, it's like starting afresh. I get me.
Yeah.
He needs all his friends, all her friends, they've lost most of them because maybe where they move is far. they may not continue from their old school anymore. They have to start afresh. And having that test
having to do all of that all over
again, having that test of separation, now living in between, because like you said earlier, moving from home to home, right? Every week he has to maybe if the parents don't have a car to take him to or take her to the dad house, or
take train
bus, a lot of stress, a lot of things happening. Understand the destabilization and this trauma and stress moving. The dad, the mom, the quarreling, the shouting, calling names, trying to buy the child trust and all that, affecting the child. Let alone now coming to a new school. He has to start again to make new friends. Then you said about concentration in class, isn't it? You see them staying at the back all the time. They don't talk to anyone. They are on themselves. How it's going to be difficult for them to find new friends.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It takes them a long time. And you see them sometimes, they say to you, they don't want to go to school. Do you understand? I want to go back to my previous school, but they cannot because maybe it's far from where they live. It affects the child a lot. Though there are some kids that it might not affect. Are you getting me? They can just adapt to any situation. Do you understand? There are some kids like that. They can adapt to any situation. But what you're pointing out is that most kids, it affect them a lot. Making new friends is difficult. You right? Understand me? So if normally even just to make friends, it's not that easy. Let alone going through this process of divorce and all that with the parents. It affect the child a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of related to the second one I said before. Living with one parent. Here they'll lose daily contact with one of the other parent with their other parent, and most often their fathers. And these sometimes affect father and child bondings that many kids lack after divorce. Those kids do lack discipline due to their mother becoming less supportive and less disciplinary towards them.
Yeah, you mentioned discipline, right? When divorce happens sometimes, or when there's separation, then the dad lived home. And now we mentioned earlier that whenever the child goes to the parents, right? The two parents now, they have the custody of the child. Maybe they divide when they're going to see the child, right? And when they're in there, sometimes that discipline is not going to be there because none of them wants to do something to caution the child, right? Even the child is doing something bad, they will not do that because they don't want to upset the child. You understand? And most times the mothers are the ones that tends to win the custody of the child. Most times they are the ones that the child normally stays with longer time, right? And because of that lack of discipline, right, you find out that the child will be growing without proper discipline. There won't be cautions. There might be some exceptions as well. There are some mothers that don't take any, how will I say, they are there, they just farm, they will give discipline, they will just train the child proper. But they are rare because when there's a battle in between, do you understand me? None of them don't want to show to the child that yes, they are the bad parent. They will try to buy the child love, isn't it? And part of discipline will not be there because they will think maybe the child cannot take that discipline as a bad parenting, isn't it? Right? Yeah, whenever I go to my dad, he's always like try to correct me, blah blah. But my mom always does this for me. He doesn't even talk to me like that. Do you understand what I mean? So you see that it's siding to one side now because both of them now are not doing the same thing. I don't know if you understand what I mean. It's becoming a difficult situation for the child. But if, like, for example, if both agreed, if they come together and agreed on if they put the child first, right? for the interest of the child. You see that there will be discipline there both into whenever the child goes to the dad, the same thing happens. You go to the mom, the same thing. They're gonna be firm. They're gonna like try to correct the child, isn't it, when he does something bad. That's good, but it depends on the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is financial hardship. Sometimes when the father or mother is the one earning money for the family, after divorce, most times he or she has to move out of the house, like I said before. And this can bring hardship to the single parent because in some instances, they have to look for a job to provide for the child.
Mhm.
And it'll make it more harder for them they'll have to move to a smaller place, like a smaller town, smaller like house. So it'll bring more the for the child. Psychologically, it'll like bring them down.
You know, when for example, when the child is staying in two home, then when two parents are there, they provide for the child more.
Mm-hmm.
There's stability. Understand? So both of them one might be working or both may be working. Everything is settled there. They provide. Maybe they might share the what to do in the houses, bills and everything all together. They provide for the child. But during divorce, sometimes one is always affect one of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
You said as well, maybe if the father is a breadwinner, sometimes when the father is breadwinner, even if they didn't go to court or they go to court, there will be a settlement, right? Most times the father might be bringing money every month for the upkeep, but it's just bringing money. It's part of the money for the child upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? There's always a lack. Are you getting me? It's not stable. Sometimes the mom has to go and look for a job as well, isn't it? Just to support. That stability of finance is not going to be there much. Do you understand me? Because what if the dad or one of the parents lose job?
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting money, right? Maybe they're going to depend on the society or the government to just like to provide. You understand? There's always that lack. It's not financially affect the child as well, affect the parents. Do you understand? So there's almost always something lacking out of it. Do you understand what I mean? Financially affect the family. So it's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the last one. The child thinks it's their fault for the divorce. Or they may blame the parents for the breakdown in the relationship. They feel betrayed and let down by their parents. Sometimes they'll feel that their parents can't be trusted because they see them as being selfish or self-centered for just breaking up with the other parent.
Yep. It's not only a child. It happens to every human being. You know, even when you have issues with your friend,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys have an argument or something, one always tends to thinking that it's their fault. Something like that happened. So the child, when the parents having that baby, they're arguing. There's like those things we said at the beginning, that they have things that bring divorce, isn't it? All those domestic violence and some other stuff in it. So when those things happening, those kids, maybe they think that it's their fault that those things are happening. If the parents didn't have them, maybe they might be living okay. They might be living, they were in peace the way they were before.
Mm-hmm.
Now they start blaming themselves that it's because of them that the parents are having arguments, and it's because of them that they're gonna have a divorce.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's gonna be their fault. And sometimes they start thinking that they can't trust their parents anymore because of the way they're treating each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? And the way they try to buy their love, because the kids, they know when you want to buy their love. They know when you're faking it. They know when you are not honest. Sometimes parents can think that they don't understand. Kids do. They do understand that you're not honest to them. That this is not how you behave. You just change because of the situation. That now you want to try to buy their love. They know that. Like we said before, they can manipulate it and use it against you. So now they don't trust you anymore. They don't believe whatever you say. And you find out that some children, they start having attitude issues. They start talking to their parents anyhow they want to. Do you understand? Because of that. Understand me? So and they say something about self-centered and selfish. Because the case now, they were thinking that the parents, both parents, they didn't put them first. They didn't think about them. They don't care about their own emotions. So they're just thinking about themselves. Do you understand? Because if they love them or if they care about them, they will make everything possible to do what? To be together, to take care of them. But because they are now focusing on themselves only, that's the reason why they're getting separation or getting divorced. Are you getting what I'm saying? So it happens like that, But what we are trying to say is that parents should put a bit of effort to try.
Yeah.
To just try and work things out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
No, not that divorce is bad. It's not bad. Understand? Rather, when children are involved, and they should put those children interest first. Like I said, you should just put the children interest at first. Even if the parents are going to get divorced, they should try to think
about what the children will feel.
Yeah, how they're going to feel, how to take care of them, how to make it possible that the child is stable when they divorce. That's it. They think about the children, put the children first. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So whatever agreement or whatever arrangement they're trying to make, they think about the interest of those kids first. Yeah. Instead of using those kids now to bring the children in the middle for their own gain. Do you understand? You bring the kids now in the middle for your own gain without even thinking about how those kids gonna feel emotionally, psychologically. Do you understand? Some might even use the kid as a way of making money from one party. I don't know if you know what I mean. They use those kids against one of them, the parents. Do you understand? So when it happens like that, it's affecting the child. It's affecting every one of them. Like you said earlier, remember, it affects parents as well. It affects them a lot. I get what I'm saying? Because parents moving as well, taking the child to the other parent's house, it's not easy for them.
No.
Because most times they don't want to see that person, the other parent. But they have to because of that child. Do you understand? So there's a lot of things. Once there's a child involved, it doesn't just stop in divorce. Yeah, it keep on going because you have to see both parties. Unless maybe one of them decide that they don't want to see the child anymore. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's a difficult situation. It goes. So at the end of the day, what we're saying is that they have to try and find a way just to put the child first.
Yeah.
The interest of the child,
And also, parents shouldn't just stay together for the sake of their children. It may not be the best option for both parties as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying with us to the end. Like and share this podcast.
And don't forget that family is everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.